Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me once again on The Mind of Reese. We will just kind of get into it. Lately, I've been just getting asked like these questions, especially via Instagram. I'm noticing that my followers the demographic is starting to change. I'm just starting to get a lot more tattoo artists, which is really, really awesome and really, really cool, because at this point in the turning point of this year has been really interesting for me, because I have decided that I want to help more people. And so the questions, instead of asking myself, what can I get out of it? It's like, what can I offer to my audience? Because I just feel so much more fulfilled answering your guys' questions and giving you all the experiences and all the, the things that I've tried that worked and don't work for me personally. And I figure if there's any way that I can help anybody out there, that is my job to do so. So, I get it revs my engine to help people out. So if you guys, seriously, if you have questions for me, do not hesitate to ask me. I answer all of my DMs, like I say. And for those that have asked me, you guys keep me updated on your goals and your dreams and the things that you're moving forward with. And I really, really appreciate that, because it does elate me, and it does make me so stoked to be doing these things and to take the time out of my days to do these podcasts or, answer those questions and stuff like that. It really, 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 I really love it. So, as far as the question that I've been getting a lot lately, it's, how I got started. Like, how do you break into the tattoo industry? And now, I noticed that with my industry, especially when I first started trying to get my hands dirty into the tattoo world. Now, I was, when I quit my accounting job, I think I was like 22 or 3. I quit my accounting job and went into full-time fine art, because I figured I would hone my skills, because the goal was to become a tattoo artist. I had already had plenty of tattoos. I had from practically my neck all the way down as an accountant. Yes, my boss was badass. What a badass for letting me do that. He loved me for who I was. So I really, really, I got lucky with that. And I'm grateful for him every day. But, so I knew that I wanted to be in the tattoo industry. I just didn't know how. And every time I would bring it up to the tattoo artist that I was going to, he kind of just blew me off, which is understandable, because as someone that's been in the industry now for 7 years, and as someone that has had 2 apprentices, having an apprentice is fucking hard. You know what I mean? And I am like the kind of person that doesn't want to just be like, here, figure it out. You know what I mean? I want to hone you. I want to create leaders. I want to create your art skill. I want to help you create, your art skills to be more, and to open up your mind more to the creativity and the tattooing, designing side of things. And so I'm pretty hard on myself when it comes to me mentoring people. And this goes for my coaching clients. This goes for my students for, the Instagram growth. And this also goes just for, like I said, like my apprentices. So I have 3 different styles of people that I'm constantly trying to be better for. And so that is always the goal. And so for me, I can understand having an apprentice is pretty tough. And nobody wants to take on that job. Some people don't feel like it. Some shops do feel like it. Some, it's like almost even better, because then the whole shop is helping you and everything like that. But I think that, so as far as how I broke into it is a really interesting thing, was that I just went out there and just kept doing my thing. And see, so many people feel like they have to do something perfect, or they have to be perfect to do something or to go after something. And I find that so odd, because it's like, how do you even know if it's perfect or imperfect if you haven't done anything? If it's just a thought in your brain? You know what I mean? Like, how do you know unless you take action toward your goal? Stop talking about it. And I know I've said this in my other podcasts, like, stop talking, don't talk about it, be about it. Because it's true. We have to try it out. We have to figure it out and just go for it. And I think that that's the biggest thing, is that people, if you want to get into this industry, just fucking do it. And I say that with love, and I say that with the intention of telling you that, like, let me give you a little bit of tough love here, because if you have it in your mind that this is something that you want to do, that's not nothing. That's not just some fleeting thought, oh, maybe it is. You know what I mean? You're going to do it. If you don't want to do it, you won't do it. When people tell me I can't, that really means I won't. Plain and simple. You tell me you can't, I can't because I don't have whatever. I don't have time. I don't have this. I don't have the skill. I don't have that. What the fuck does that mean to me? That means that you won't. It means it's not something that you want to do. It means that it's something that doesn't make your heart sing enough for you to want to figure it out, period. So when I say this with loving arms. It's like, so when I first decided that I was going to go back to art school to hone my skills, and honestly, I actually was like, okay, because as an analytical thinker, and now my whole mindset has changed over the years, because I was very progress, perfection, workaholic mindset, always doing something, no idle hands, I'll sleep when I'm dead mentality. And what's funny is that I get burned out a lot. I had gotten burned out, and then I would get so mad at myself for burning out and getting upset, and then all of a sudden I'd start working. But when really I'm not giving myself that time and that know how, like, to realize, like, hey, there's an easier way to do this. Yes, it takes time. Yes, it takes patience, a lot of it. And you know what it also takes? It takes a sense of fucking humor. You guys, you just got to realize that it's not the end of the world to fail, quote unquote. It's not. Actually, failure is a great thing. The more you fail, the more experience you have, the more knowledge you have to go past that, to get past it and to keep going and to even find out whether or not it is for you. Because, some people, they fail and they're done. Then that's not for you. If you're done, if that's it, one failure, you're done, that's it, maybe it isn't for you. Maybe you need to reevaluate what you want to do. Because, guys, nothing in life that's wonderful comes easy. Nothing. But it can be simple. It is so simple. All you have to do is just take these these baby steps forward and document. So I always tell people you need to document your wins. The reason why is because we always forget about the good. I don't understand it. I do understand it. It's just one of those things that I constantly have to bite my tongue when people go down a negative route, because I know that there's nothing that I'm going to be able to say to them that will get them off their mindset. The only thing I can do is ask you a quality question as to why you feel that way. Why do we need to go down this route, this road of mental thinking? How is this helping you by thinking this way? Because if I try to tell you, hey, you should just be grateful for the things you fucking have now, and then be excited about the things that you're about to get because of all these things that have been happening in your life. Like, it's really true. And that's just the tough love coming from me. Like, I'm not discounting, like, anything, sicknesses, ailments, that kind of thing. Those are hardships. And trust me, I am completely 100% empathetic with that. Absolutely. But I also know that there's a lot of people out there with these types of conditions that are the most inspiring people I have ever had the pleasure of either meeting or had the pleasure to just read about, or, read their autobiography, just be around, anything. And so it's really hard for me to allow anything to be an excuse, because they don't allow it for themselves either. And so when I'm telling you to just go for it, I mean it. Just figure it out. All you have to do is figure it out. What did I do? I didn't know what to do. I took the steps. So I went out, I started getting really, really good at my art. My main focus night and day was painting, drawing, everything. And I work really well in, like, school systems. So the winning for me is the good grade. It's like, so for me, it might not be for you. Personally, I think that we have to always, like, practice our crafts, take seminars, take classes. You need it. You just need it, because you need to grow. If you want to get better at something, you want to grow with it. It's almost better. But if you are so in love with this industry and you want to get into it, there's no quick way to get into anything if you want to be good at it. And you want to have the notoriety with it, or anything else, or the clout, or the big following on Instagram or whatever. You have to know your craft and you have to get it well done. So, everybody out there that you follow or anything like that via social media, the reason why they're so good is because they practice at it. Now they're so good they doesn't even think twice about how to design. They could do a design in like 5 seconds, but that 5 seconds took them 5 years, 10 years to get to that point. So that's not easy. It's not easy, and then for those types of people that want to jump out of their style and like maybe do a little bit something different, they're constantly learning from their peers, from classes, from everything. So it's not easy to, people make it seem like, oh, you make it look so easy. No, I worked my ass off to get here. I worked very, very hard. I practiced a lot. I painted a lot. I drew a lot. I created a portfolio. I was constantly out there making $5 a print, barely like $30 out of an 8-hour day, because I was just trying to network my ass off. All I wanted to do was tattoo. And I was like, how am I going to do this? So I would go to shops, bring them my portfolio. A lot of times I got laughed at. Whatever. On to the next one. Went to another one. I did get a little discouraged. Don't get me wrong, because this took me 2.5 years before someone actually gave me, and I was a pretty good artist. Like, I have to admit, like, the reason why I was able to even realize that I was good at art was because my first painting was sold for a substantial amount of money. Now, did I ever make that kind of money again on a painting? No, but I do believe that it was the universe letting me know that, hey, this might be a little something we might look into. And maybe, just maybe. And so as the hard worker I am, I was like, well, fuck it. The only way else I know how to get better at art is by going back to school. So that's what I did. And then since I went back to school full time, I made sure that like I was completely in it to win it. And that I was also taking actionable steps, not just creating art, but by being out there and putting myself in a position to receive some sort of information or maybe an opportunity from someone. You guys, if you sit on your ass all day long and just draw at home, that's not going to do anything for you. And especially, and I'm going to tell you this right now, if you're sitting at your ass and just doing art at home and not even taking the photo right for your artwork so you could post it online, then you're really not making an impact on the world or making the impact that you should be making with the skill that you have. Because we all got skills. Okay, we all have them. Everybody out here in this world is creative at something. And we can all make magic happen, I swear to God. But you have to take the actionable steps. And you have to put yourself out there. It's uncomfortable, but what do we talk about? Uncomfortability, you guys. When you get out of your comfort zone, that's when growth happens. So to those that ask me oftentimes, how do I break into the industry? Well, you draw your ass off. You do art. You do art nights. I went out there. I was doing art nights at like burlesque shows. I would just ask. I was like, where are people that are tattooed that maybe I could figure out where they hang out, and then they'll see my art, and then we can talk about art, and then I could be like, well, I've always wanted a tattoo. You know what I mean? You have to make friends. Or you can go out, start getting tattooed a lot by the people that you really, really admire, and then slowly, and I don't want to say weasel your way in, but yes, slowly weasel your way in. Because at the end of the day, like if you go into a tattoo shop and you don't even know the person, the first thing that you do is like, hey, I want an apprenticeship. Having an apprentice is like having a family member. You're creating an environment. And if someone doesn't know your vibe, they're not going to say yes. It's like, I know I wouldn't. If someone just came up to me and was like, Reese, I want an apprenticeship. I don't know your vibe, bro. Like, I'm sorry. I have a tight-knit tribe within these walls right now, and I have to look after their peace of mind as well as my own on bringing a new person in here. So how do you show that? Well, you go in there, you're patient. You can either make sure you're showing a lot of your stuff on Instagram, make sure you're doing really good photography for your work, you're having dynamic content on there, just to show that like you actually care. Because that's caring about your work. If you don't care about the presentation of your work, then nobody else is either. So realize, guys, that like it is all about presence. There's so much work that goes behind just the art part, and then the content part. If you're not willing to, go out there in the world. But I'd say your best bet to get yourself some sort of apprenticeship, or even anything, your best bet to get anything you want from ground zero, because we all start from zero. So where do you go from there? Figure it out. Take the actionable steps forward. Put yourself out there. Make sure you have amazing content on all social media platforms, and then go out, meet people in places that you think might have other artists there. Hey, if you see an art night going on, see how you can get into that art night. You know what I mean? My dad throws an art night at Basic in downtown. If you guys haven't been there, it's in San Diego. I'm just going to plug this in here. I'm just like a shameless plug in here for my dad. But Basic Urban Kitchen and Pizza, it's amazing. Oh, it's amazing. But they have an art show every Tuesday. I believe it's once a month Tuesday. And I remember when it was like no artists, and now it's huge, and you can get in there and you can network with the other artists, and it's a pretty cool clique. And so you network down and down, and you can find these places to do these at. You can even ask. You could go to, when people have like open mic nights, or that like a bar has like some cool music, live music, but it's kind of well lit. Like there's a bar in Encinitas called First Street. And I noticed that they have like they'll have like bands there, but I noticed that the lighting in there is actually pretty bright. And what I love about that is that like, hey, you know what? I could just ask the bar, the bar manager, and just be like, do you mind if I just set up shop and just do a live painting while they're doing that? You know how many people would be stoked on that? They just want to get to know you. Boom, networking right then and there. Easy. It's so easy, you guys, to network. You just don't make it hard on yourself. It's so easy. But the thing is that you have to put yourself out there. And when people say, oh, but I can't, this and that, I can't means I won't. And that's okay. If you won't, then that's just not something that you really want to do. So I would just say find the thing that really makes your heart sing, and then really do that. Because I actually, I have this quote here that I like. Oh my goodness, I wish I remembered where it's at. But it was by Maya Angelou, and it was like, she said something along the lines, just do it until you do better, and then do better. And after you figure it out, then do better. Like, that's the thing, you guys. We all start from zero. We all start from not having any knowledge at all. Like, I didn't know anything about accounting, of course. Then I went to school, and then all of a sudden, there you go, boom shakalaka. And then after that, I didn't even know I could draw until I was 22, you guys. Like, I felt like a late bloomer. And then all of a sudden, I started tattooing at 25? I'm 32 now. I've been tattooing for 7 years. And I've worked my ass off, with hiccups along the way, but I've worked my ass off. You know what I mean? But that's the thing, is that I learned so much information by, like the ups and downs of, what we call success. It's like, but that's how it is. It's not just some linear thing that happens. It's not just some like, oh, this is how success works. Success is like a fucking roller coaster ride, along with like lions and tigers trying to scratch you up, and like a fiery ring of, flames. And I don't know. It's just like the burning ring of fire. And it's not meant to be pretty, but it's meant to be awesome. And you're supposed to enjoy the journey, you guys. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. It's what Buddha says, It's about the journey. Because if you can't enjoy the journey of getting there, then you're not going to enjoy being there, because you're never going to be there. That's the fucked up part. That's the fucking paradoxical nonsense that we hear all the time. But it's so true. We're constantly just chasing the end result, when really we need to be enjoying the journey as we're going and growing. That's what we need to be focusing on, you guys. We really need to focus on the journey, and we need to focus on, getting started. Start before you're ready. I've heard that line from so many mentors of mine. Start before you're ready. Why? Because how do you know you're ready? How are you ever going to know you're ready? Oh, I'm ready when I have this and this and this and this and that. No. Progress over perfection, guys. Progress over perfection. Because nothing's ever going to be perfect. Do you think I started this podcast? You know how many times I had to tell myself this thing, and trust me, like I understand. I practice what I preach as often as I can. But you know how many times I had to talk myself into starting this podcast? I kept talking myself out of it. I was like, I'm not talking about anything good. I'm not helping anybody. I'm no good at this. My lighting's wrong. I'm using my phone as the camera. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things that I could have talked myself out of it. And trust me, the little egotistical thoughts in your brain definitely want to come into play and tell you you're not good enough, tell you, you can't do it, tell this and that. But at the end of the day, what we can do is compassionately say, move aside, ego. Compassionately be nice to it, because at the end of the day, that's the fucking voice you got to live with. So I personally, I'm trying to be as nice to it as possible, so that in turn he can be nice to me. I don't know why I called him a he. It's a she for me. I call her. Oh, let me talk to her right now. Let me ask her. I call her, he. Oh, who cares? There are many voices in my head. I'll tell you that right now. But you can be compassionate with it and just be like, listen, I hear you. But that's just an opinion. Your ego is just an opinion. It's not the truth. You can believe it, and then that could hinder your progress, or you even getting started, or you doing anything that you want to do with your life because of this egotistical thing in your brain telling you that you can't, you won't, you shouldn't, blah, 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 blah. You guys, how do you think anybody gets anywhere? They push the ego aside. They have to. We have to. That's what we have to do. We got to let go of the ego. And I know saying is so much easier than doing. But you guys, it's a muscle. Our brain is a muscle that you can hone in on. All my coaching clients that I help, I do mindset motivational coaching, either for business or just in life. And I know that you guys have been starting to see that a lot more. I've been actually being more vocal about it. It was kind of a private thing that just kind of I fell into. And I love my one-on-one coaching and my group coaching classes. So yes, I love it. And these are the things that we go through, and these are the walls that we break down. It's your core beliefs. What are those? Not the beliefs that you think about yourself because you're conditioned over the years and the experiences that you have. Those beliefs are just opinions. They don't have to be your beliefs. They don't have to be true. So if you're thinking that you can't do it because you're not good enough, that's an opinion. That's not truth. Is it true? Can you ask yourself, is that true? And if you tell me yes, but is it absolutely true? Can we dig a little deeper? Most of my clients have said, well, maybe not. Okay, then there we go. And then what do we do when we believe that we're not good enough? Well, we get depressed. We actually don't get up and go to the gym and do the things that we want to do. We don't draw that day because we just felt like, oh, we're not good enough. How are we going to get any better now? And then I always ask them, what would it be like if you didn't have that belief? Well, I would just go for it. I would just feel freedom. I would feel alive. I would feel like I could do anything. Okay. Those are the things that we have to ask ourselves. We have to consciously hear those voices, those egotistical opinions in our brain, and question them. Is that true? Because most of the time it's not. It's not true. And this can go for anything. You can ask those 4 little questions on anything. Is it true? Is it really true? Because people always have to get that asked twice, you know what I mean? How does it make you feel when you believe it to be true? And what do you think it would feel like if you didn't believe it at all? And and I'm talking about people in relationships. When someone's like, well, he doesn't love me because I don't do all these things. Well, is that true? Or I can't do this because I'm not a good enough artist. Well, is that true? I want to lose this weight, but going to the gym is too hard for me. Is that true? You guys, these are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. Is it true? Most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's an opinion. So guys, when you ask me these questions on how to get started, you already know the answer. You already know the answer inside of you. You know the answer. The answer is just do it. What is the inspired action here? You know what I mean? What is the inspired action to get you just to get off your ass and move? Because my inspired action was I went back to school. Maybe it wasn't the right way for you, but for me, I was like, what can I do? What can I do? I could draw every day, but I know I'm good in a school setting. So what did I do? I went back to college, and then learned. And then I was like, well, what else can I do to meet people? Okay, art shows, get more tattoos by people that I really like. and I tried that. And you know how it happened out of nowhere? 2.5 years later, full-time art school, ready already. Like, I was like, well, if I can't land a tattoo apprenticeship, I had a fallback plan. And I was like, I'm going to go move to Scotland and get my master's degree and become an art history teacher and do art as well. Because I knew that I was like, I don't know if I'm going to, I wanted to make money doing art, but I also wanted to be able to sustain myself and not burn myself out by trying so hard to make art the only thing. I wanted to make an income for my art because I wanted my art the art is my love of my life. I don't want to burn out on the love of my life. So I decided that I would never treat art as my only way of income. So I was like, I'll be an art history teacher. I love teaching. Like I thrive in instructive educational settings. This is why I do this. This is why I coach. That's the reason why I'm creating a course for people on Instagram, to help you grow your business on Instagram, because I love helping people. And that's what I love doing. So I knew that teaching would be great for me. And then all of the sudden, the moment that I actually was just like, because I think it's funny because they're so hard on themselves when things don't happen their way. And what it is what you got to do is when you set the intention, when you set the goal, you obviously, you make steps, you make conscientious steps to reach that goal. But you got to realize that if you've already done everything you can, I personally love my coaches and my mentors because don't get me wrong, I have a lot of times when I have doubt, when I have comparisonitis, when I feel like I have imposter syndrome where I'm just like, oh my God, how can I do this? I'm not even good enough yet. Like, how am I going to coach these people when I feel like I need to be coached myself? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like you can be a work in progress and still be a leading expert in your industry, period. You could be a work in progress and still know what you're doing. That's okay. You guys, that is okay. I am giving you the permission to let you know that it is okay to always be a work in progress. You know why? Because that's a coachable thing. That means you can learn always, because that's the whole point of life, is to keep on learning and to keep helping others in any way that we can. It doesn't have to be in a grand scale of things. As far as I'm concerned, when I tattoo, the one person that I'm with that day, just being an open ear for them is helping someone. That alone is helping someone. Just listening to them is helping someone. So it just goes to show that, you just got to realize that it's not all about world peace or something so grand. It could just be one fucking person that your art impacts on them. And that's, you've done it, man. If that is anything that I'm going to try and reach, that's what I want. But as far as I'm concerned, you know what I mean? Like for me, I always feel like there's always more calling to me. Whenever I reach one goal, I always feel something else in my heart that calls to me. And I always kind of explore that and see what it is. And then I take the actionable steps. Like when I first started coaching, when I started life coaching and business life coaching, I don't even know how it happened. I all of a sudden was reading this book, and in the back of it had a random phone number to call for tickets to go see this person. And I was like, this book was so good. And I love to read. I love reading. I don't read fiction anymore. I read a lot of nonfiction, personal development. I love a lot of personal development. I love business development. I love entrepreneurship things, anything that's going to help me learn and grow. I love. So I was reading a personal development book, and oh gosh, I forget his name, but I actually didn't end up going to the show. But what it had done was it created a snowball effect for me to listen to someone's podcast. And then all of a sudden it turned me into someone else's podcast. And all of a sudden I was like signing up for these fucking classes out of nowhere as a tattoo artist, being like, you know what? I would just like to learn more. And then, it's like when I took yoga teacher training, all I wanted to do was just learn a little bit more about being a yogi and what does yoga really mean? And I learned that it wasn't just about the exercise. It wasn't just about the stretching. It was so much more than that. And that got me into this whole personal self-development, road. And then so when things like that pop up, you guys, it's not by coincidence. And I have a friend who fucking hates it when I say everything happens for a reason. But I personally don't think that there is such thing as coincidences. I do believe that you have instinctually picked up this book, opened that door, stopped that stop sign, did these things all because there is a snowball effect of things to be happening. You just have to be aware, open your eyes. So the more I became aware of things and the more I became aware and in tune with my intuition, that's when I started noticing that I was taking what is it called? Inspired action. And I spoke about that last week, but when I take inspired action, meaning intuitively inspired action from my heart, saying, hey, Reese, let's look into this. And it's a tiny voice. It's not the loud kind that's like, no, don't do that. Not the fight or flight one. That's the ego. That's not always the ego too. Like if you're about to get hit by a car, that's your fight or flight. And that's your instinct to just jump back. You're like, before your brain even thinks, like your body already knows. So that's not what I'm talking about. When your ego is like, ooh, girl, do you think you should post that photo up because it's a little bit more cleavage than maybe you want? Or maybe do you think that thing looks a little slutty? Or you know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's like such a shallow thing to say. But like, it's something like that. And then it's like, and then you have like a war. No, I'm gonna do what I want. And then, you know what I mean? Like, that's like the ego. You just gotta like let go. But the intuitive voice in there is the quiet one. It's the one that's like, just look into it. Why don't we just try this thing? So open your eyes, be aware of the things that are going on around you, because you don't ever know who or what is going to say something that's going to click in your mind. You're going to be like, holy fuck, I got to do that. So out of nowhere, here I am signing up for these fucking classes. And then I go to this huge event and then I'm like, my mind has been blown. I didn't even know there was a land of people that all believed in the same things that I believed. Because for me, with my coaching clients, when I do my one-on-one mindset motivational coaching, so the way I do it, it's positive psychology and law of attraction. So that's how I coach people into, letting go of their walls and their negative beliefs, and and coaching them into a different mindset, a different perspective. And then from there, we move on to either your business, if you have a business, or if not, into just life in general, and how you can realize the things that you have already are just fucking radical, and how you can get more of that. So it's so funny. So like, and so these are the people that I'm surrounded by. And I'm like, I had no idea. Like, I thought I was alone in this. And I was almost even embarrassed whenever people would ask me what I was reading. I was like, I'm not reading anything. I'm just reading stuff. And so like, it's like, so at this point I was like, I am not ashamed. I'm going to own this. And and then I started owning it little by little. And, it's so funny. It's like, even on social media, I was super nervous about even putting it anywhere near my stuff. But I was like, you know what? By me not sharing my gifts, my unique talents, and this goes for you too. By me not sharing my unique gifts and talents, I am basically robbing the world of the things that I have to offer, of me changing their life in some capacity. And that's what you're doing. By holding yourself back, you are stealing. And I'm telling you, I know that's a fucked up word to say, but you are stealing from this world by not giving the knowledge that you know. By not offering that artwork because you're too afraid to go into a tattoo shop because you're afraid they're going to say no. What? No. Oh, really? No is not that big of a deal. You guys, we need to learn how to say it more. I need to learn how to say that more. Honestly, I'm such a people pleaser. I have a hard time saying no, but I'm realizing because I'm becoming an educator and a coach and that kind of thing, I'm starting to realize like how important it is for me to say no for my own fucking well-being, for my own peace of mind, because I need to take care of me first in order for me to take care of everybody else around me. So that's why I say, like, no is a good word, you guys. No should not have a negative connotation, weight, or anything on top of it. Saying no to not going out for drinks is saying yes to me making sure I'm doing this podcast. And that's actually what just happened, because I did say no to going out because I wanted to make sure that I made this podcast, because I felt so inspired to do it. Even though I really did want to go out, I was like, oh, I really want to, have dinner with my friends and, it's Christmas stuff. But I felt so inspired to do this podcast. I was like, you guys, I might have to pass on this. So I'm going to do what I got to do. Maybe I'll do it after. But if not, I'll see you guys around. That's what I'm talking about. Saying no to one thing means saying yes to something else. And that is an amazing truth. And you guys, our time is fucking finite. Don't waste it. It's so precious. It's the one thing we can't get back. So why sit there and think about, man, I want to become a tattoo artist. Become a tattoo artist. You know what I mean? I know that there are some people out there that go and buy machines off like Amazon and just practice on their friends and selves. I don't mean that. I understand that is definitely a way to get inspired, to feel better about trying to get a job into somewhere. But my fear with that is that you can learn bad habits, and bad habits create bad tattoos, and then in turn those bad tattoos that are created by people with bad habits are oftentimes coming to me to get them covered. And that's really unfortunate. We don't want to hurt people's skin. So I'm not saying go out there and just go buy a machine and go do your own thing. Now, I know a lot of people that have done that and they're killing it today. So I'm not going to say no to that, but I do say that there are ways around because I feel like doing it that way and it's still staying small. It's because you are too afraid to get outside of your house and to go ask around and hear the no word. You want to do everything yourself and think that you're a know-it-all, and then you could do it by yourself. And I think that's playing it small. Oh, okay, because I'm going to stay in my house, tattoo my friends, and not learn anything outside of myself. And that's, for me, is playing small. I think you're doing an injustice to yourself by doing it that way. But there are people that have made it humongous doing that, so I won't discount that, and I won't disrespect it either. The reason why I'm so adamant about, because I take my job so seriously, and I just don't want to hurt anybody's skin or cause any damage, or I would prefer that you guys put some skin in the game, guys. Put some skin in the game and fucking get out there and get vulnerable and get weird. And just start asking and draw your asses off. And if you do get a machine, get fake skin to practice on. You know what I mean? Like, at least figure that out. I know that the internet there's so many resources that we have these days where you can watch people literally tattoo super up close and maybe figure out a few things in the meantime of trying to get an actual apprenticeship at a shop, because that is the best way. Because that can create good habits. You get a total lifestyle in what a shop feels like. And then not only that, but then you're just, you're surrounded by other really amazing artists that could teach you all these great things. You know what I mean? So it's like, you guys, 2.5 years it took me. And even longer because I'd been getting tattooed since I was 18. Didn't know I could draw until I was 22. Didn't start tattooing until I was 25, almost 26. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that was a long time. 22 to 25, that's 3 years. Oh, 3 years. Yeah. It's a long time. And honestly, it's not that long of a time. But trust me, I got a little discouraged, but it's not going to happen overnight. You guys, it's okay. People say no all the time. I say no to people all the time because maybe their vibe is not my vibe, and that's okay. And I've also fired apprentices too. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you guys, go out there and just put yourself out there, because the more numb you get to hearing the no, the better you'll be at just being out there and being like, fuck it. Because at the end of the day, we have the goal, but you need to forget about you got to lose the expectation of when that goal doesn't happen. Because you got to just drop it. You just got to let it go. Because at the end, if you put so much weight and so much emotional weight on the expectation, it will literally eat you alive. So you put it in there, you have a fucking sense of humor about it, but you're determined, you have to be determined, you have to go for it, you have to be patient, but you need a sense of humor. You need to laugh at yourself because it's funny. The only person that thinks it's the end of the world is you and your ego, the other voice that likes to speak to you and tell you that you're doing everything wrong and all that stuff. Those two things, it sucks. You know what I mean? And I can get into how you can get over the ego part of it and how to quiet that little voice in your head that's always kind of bothering everybody. It's something super simple. It's meditation, but I'll go into that a little bit later on a different podcast. But for now, I just wanted to get into that part of it just because I feel like that's or just because I do get asked a lot on how to get into this industry. And to me, that question is like all my coaching clients. It's like, how do I do something, or how do I start? That's what I hear when people ask me that. Now, since I know it's in the context of tattooing because I'm a tattoo artist, but at the same time, it's like this can go for anyone. This doesn't have to just be tattoo artists. This goes for everybody. You know what I mean? This goes for everybody. Get started. You just get started. You know what I mean? Progress over perfection. Always have an open mind. You have to be open-minded. You have to be aware for the things that are out there, ready for you just to take them, because you didn't have it in your brain to have. You didn't have this thought if it wasn't for you. Period. People are like, oh, I always wish I was a tattoo artist, but I can't draw a stick figure. Then you really don't want to be a tattoo artist. That's plain and simple. That's cute. It's cute. I love it when people say it. Don't get me wrong. I hear it all the time. I can't even draw a stick figure. I couldn't draw a stick figure, I thought. Then all of a sudden I'm drawing portraits because I practiced, you guys. It was hard. People think that I do it so easy now. So we're talking about like 10 years worth of stuff that I've been honing my skill on from in the art world. It takes patience, you guys. And yeah, now I can come up with designs and things like that super easy, quick like that. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's not something that just, you have to be patient, and you have to celebrate your wins, and you got to let it go. You got to let your goal go at the end of the day, because when it doesn't happen, who cares? At the end of the day, who cares? Really? Because then you just get up, dust yourself off, and then learn from your mistake, and then go from there and see what else we can do. You guys. Okay. So, wanted to keep that. Don't want to take up too much of your time, but I really, really hope that this helps you guys out there for how to get yourself started, how to get yourself, into the tattoo industry, how to get yourself wherever you want to go, especially in your business, how to get started. It's just getting up and doing it, you guys. Okay. So I love you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Oh my gosh, I'm releasing this on a Wednesday, and it's Christmas Day. So, you guys, happy holidays. Merry Christmas, whatever is your jam. Love you guys to pieces. If you guys can please make comments on Spotify, Apple Music, or my YouTube, go and follow. Please press the like button. If you have any questions, please ask me. I would love to know what you guys want to know more about, whether it be personal development, whether it be Instagram growth, whether it be, tattooing, artistry, whatever you guys want to know. I'm always willing to help you out and figure it out with you, alongside you. All right. Love you guys. Bye-bye.